Oh, hi. Welcome back to my little corner. So, I've been thinking the last few days about how to start all of this, how to start talking about it all. So I thought I might as well start at the beginning because that's a very fine place to start. I believe my journey with mental illness stemmed from my childhood. Childhood that wasn't exactly favourable or conducive to a well-centred, together individual. I was born to parents who obviously didn't want me, and they showed me that through their actions and behaviours. And it's not that I'm bad-mouthing or want to bad-mouth them, I'm just stating the obvious. This is actually a painting I did of my mother. I loved, both my parents are gone now, but I loved my parents, and I never understood why they made the choices that they did. I never understood why the abuse happened. I remember at 8 standing in the backyard crying after one of the parents had sort of gone through their abuse of me. And I remember standing there telling my future children that I would never, ever let them feel the way I was feeling right then. So obviously my sadness started way back then. And I think it was because I was conditioned to understand that I was worthless. I was conditioned to understand I had no rights. I was conditioned to believe that I would never be anything. And I brought that with me my whole life. I've never finished anything. I've never completed any of the things that I wanted to do, because I'd get halfway through it and then I would realise that there wasn't any point because no one was going to bother. It's like my artwork. I'd never had any lessons, but I was blessed with the gift to be able to create. I believe I was blessed with the gift to create. And there were people that started, viewing my paintings, just show them off when I was on Facebook, and people started being interested in purchasing some. And what happened, as soon as they started wanting to purchase them, it finished. I stopped painting. I've written a book. I wrote this book about 10 years ago, and it has to do with my journey with mental illness up until that particular time that I'd finished it. But it's never good enough. It's never been good enough to send on to anyone to get it published. And even though I've had my psychiatrists along the way, I've had patients in the hospital that I spent time in read it and tell me, do something with this because this could help a lot of people. But in my head, it's not good enough. It needs to be better. It always needs to be better. And losing weight even. I start losing weight, I start doing really well, and bam. As soon as I start doing well, I sabotage. I sabotage my whole life because I'm not worth. And the sad thing is, logically, at this point in my life, I know that I have worth, but I feel worthless. And that's the hardest thing for me, is the feels. So just as an end note here, for any of you watching that have a tendency to use words to hurt, I urge you, especially when you're talking to your children, to not. Because my situation was abusive. I mean, it wasn't just, sometimes, don't be an idiot to your kid or whatever. Mine was way, way, way more. It was physical, mental, verbal, and there was some sexual. But when you use words to gain control, or when you use words to demean, the thing is that they stay there. And maybe one-offs are different. But don't tell your kids they're stupid. Don't tell them they're too fat to wear that. Don't tell them that they don't know what they're talking about, because it sits inside and it festers and it festers and it festers until you get to a point where you believe everything that people who care about you have told you. Kids aren't stupid. Kids aren't anything negative. Kids are innocent souls. And the only way to get a society that is strong and self-resilient is to build them up. To just let them know that they're important, to let them know they're special. And we all do silly things. Kids are no different. But you don't teach them by demeaning them. You teach them by love. And I'm not saying, sometimes kids do some really crappy shit. But you find different ways to sort of let them know that you're disappointed in them. I'm not quite sure where else to go today with that. But as I said, I believe that my journey started way back when. And then I kept feeding it as I got older. I kept giving it credence, I kept abusing myself. So even when my parents stopped the physical and most of the verbal abuse, I was still doing it to myself. And we tend to do that because it's all we know. I've got a lot of, as I said, I've done a lot of work on myself. Over the years. And I'm at a different point now than I was, say, 15, 20 years ago. So I hope eventually to be able to wake up in the morning and just see the reality of life, and not to feel the emptiness and the pain and all of those things that I feel that aren't even real. Because, the feelings are real. But the thoughts, they're not. The memories are real, but the thoughts are not. I hope to wake up one morning and know that I'm okay, and feel that I'm okay, that my mind doesn't go back into stuff that's not even real anymore. Because my life right now, is, hey, I got my pets, I live in a house that I'm not going to get kicked out of, I have my children are all healthy, my family, my siblings are all doing well. There's nothing wrong with my life. Nothing. I can walk, I can use my arms. There's nothing wrong with my life. Yet I feel like I'm being suffocated by the emptiness and the sadness and stuff. And I don't want that. And I've been working in my whole life to try and find myself out of that. Found my way out of that. So here's to me moving forward, continuing to move forward, and finding that space that, like, I view in my head, I see myself this hippie woman sitting in the grass in my flowing cheesecloth dress, flowers in my hair, just breathing in the air and feeling the sun on me and just living, My end desire is to live before I die, and not just to make it through every day. So let's sort of keep this going, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Enjoy your own life. Remember to breathe. Keep smiling. And remember you. Always remember you. I love you guys.